Hey guys, so I want to comment on this interesting video, the story of this gentleman who survived horrifying uh, child sexual assault from his father when he was a kid. You know, horrifying, horrible stuff. His dad was just an out and out sadistic pedophile. And I want to comment a little bit on how that having this kind of spiritual culture of yoga and meditation kind of on the periphery of his awareness and some of these fringe circles like the ones that he ended up falling into helped him so much in his life to kind of balance and provide something that religion, in his mind had failed him. His father ended up becoming a born again Christian, and perpetuating this cycle of rejection and putting all of my problems on someone else, da, 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 blaming everything and feeling like you're redeemed and back and forth. Meanwhile, the son is going through a very healthy, holistic process, even in the West, of yoga, meditation, things that we have available to us, which is helping to cure, the Western alienated condition. Okay, so watch this video with the couple clips that I have from the video anyway. I'll post a link to the full video down here if you'd like to take a listen to the whole thing. And then I'm going to give my commentary. So here we go.
My dad was also a pedophile growing up. He's a sadist. He likes children, and I saw the bad end of that. Yeah, getting out of it wasn't easy. Like I said, it took me 50, 60 tries and constantly relapsing. But it took a lot of acknowledging my trauma that I went through as a kid. A lot of meditation, a lot of yoga, and it hasn't been easy. Even these past couple of years, I've had more memories come back of what my dad was doing. And I'm still sober through it now. I guess I just found healthier ways to deal with it. I play a lot of basketball again in different pickup leagues. I work out. I read just a ton. I'm an avid reader.
Did you try therapy?
I have tried therapy. I've tried not to any real help. I've tried therapists, and I had one rescheduling on me a lot. I had another one who was like really anti-gay, anti-LGBT, and
Side note, the reason why that he said that is because I guess he had some like gender dysphoria because of his abuse, and he ended up as a transsexual for a little while, and then now he's like straight. So that's why he mentioned that.
I didn't really feel comfortable being with her. The best therapy that I've had is actually meditation and yoga. I've had a few yoga teachers kind of take me under their wing and guide me through some of my PTSD and my flashbacks, and just breathing, stretching, acknowledging that, I'm a pretty messed up person, and that's all right. There's a lot of messed up people. And maybe I'm not sober because there's been a couple instances where I've tried psilocybin mushrooms in small doses. And I can remember about a year ago, after my brother had passed, I'd taken a small dose of psilocybin mushrooms, and I started with my yoga practice and meditation. I was going to journal some, play guitar, draw, and
So
as these
important.
mushrooms kicked in, I felt sorry for my dad, like really sorry. I mean, I started crying because in that moment, I couldn't fathom what it was like to be him. I felt really bad for him. I mean, I was like sobbing by myself. That's how bad I felt for my dad. And if I could have connected with him in that moment, I would have forgiven him. And I would have been worried about the salvation of his soul. I'm in line with a lot of Buddhist principles. So I know it's within me to forgive him, and just because of that little story I told. But it's intermittent, and that's kind of what I'm working on. I'd like to forgive him in a sense, but it's hard when you confront someone that was raping you. We can invent a lot of other words for it: child molestation, pedophilia, but the best word for it is he's a child rapist. he rapes children forcibly. When you confront someone like this and you find out that they enjoy rubbing it in your face, yeah, so what? Get over it. It's really hard to forgive him. I've offered to pay for therapy for him and I to go to therapy. He doesn't want anything to do with it. So I guess it's a journey I'm going to have to take on my own, as far as understanding forgiveness and love. And if I can't forgive him and understand it and come out of it with a sense of love, I just don't want to live my life with hate any longer, because it really inhibits a lot of what I want to do. You said, what am I afraid of? I'm afraid of living my life as a hateful person.
I'm sure all you, all you mean, evil, alt-right racists feel the same way. So I was watching that yesterday. This is a story of seems like a really nice kid who was horrifically sexually abused as a child by his father, of all people. And the interviewer is talking to him about his life and the kind of confusing uh, confusing time that the gentleman has had trying to figure himself out, trying to understand his identity, trying to come to terms with how he was horribly abused when he was younger. And I thought it was really, really interesting how that even through all the drug addiction that this person has been through and all of the horrible things, he he said that he said that his dad, by the way, which is interesting, reminds me a little bit of my grandpa, who is apparently kind of a shithead that reformed and became born again, whatnot. There's so many stories like this in America, but his dad, I guess, became one of these born again Christian types, and then started to blame him for the son for the way that he turned out, from the horrifying sexual abuse from the father on and he's possessed by Satan and whatnot, and he's not a good Christian. And I thought it was really fascinating that the kid said that not drugs or therapy or psychologists, psychiatrists, or anything like that, but this kid had a couple breakthroughs. The first breakthrough he had, he said he took some psilocybin mushrooms and he was like bawling because he very viscerally felt pity for his dad, for the person that he is. A horrible, violent, depraved pedophile, doing horrifying, unspeakable things to children, young children. Just absolutely barbaric things to his son, and having his friends participate in them. He said that he felt he took some psilocybin mushrooms and he felt he was like crying. He felt such pity for his father, or sympathy. I think that's what that is, sympathy. A lot of I've been using this word recently, intersubjectivity. When you have two people, and I have my subjective awareness, you have your subjective awareness. You're objective relative to me, I'm objective relative to you, and we kind of form an intersubjective, nexus between us of a kind of a consensual reality, right? And I think that a lot of yoga, a lot of mysticism, a lot of cultivation of the soul and advancement of spiritual peoples is to kind of be able to participate in that intersubjective relationship in an honest and sincere way. Just like the same way that a spiritual person, or a person who tries to be spiritual, would hopefully try to lay down their attachment to their ego, be sincere and humble, in the face of the Parashiva, the transcendental, gigantic, omniscient awareness on top of your head. just like you try to like lay down your sense of self in that non-dual consciousness. I think that spiritual people, why they connect so well, and why that people kind of appreciate uh, Jesus and Buddha and people who embody their religion in a good way, is because those kind of spiritual people are able to kind of penetrate into that intersubjective connection with the other in a way which is uh, not focused on the lower stuff, the lower kind of violent, depraved, kind of selfish. Yeah, I need to get revenge against that guy. We all kind of know inherently that that's bad, right? Because it hurts, right? It doesn't feel good to carry that in you. It doesn't feel good. You guys probably seen me go off with like dropping N bombs and all other kinds of fucking ridiculousness, which is just, by the way, just me kind of trying to come to terms with what's going on in the gestalt of America, and I'm trying to be sincere about it and navigate these memes in a sincere way that I don't lose sight of the truth, the higher reality. But either way, so we can all feel that these kind of lower ways of relating to each other and relating to the world are bad, especially when you have the vantage point of the higher energy centers, higher vibrations, higher dimensions, higher chakras, higher fifth dimensional light axis Merkaba activation, crown chakra, whatever you want to call it. When you have the perspective of the higher, you especially you feel these lower things. You can feel them. And in a kind of I'm going off on a tangent, but I've got a point. So in like a Kabbalistic sense, you have like multiple souls in your body, like the tree of life. There's 4 worlds. So I always consider that like in the belly, in the lower centers, all this like kind of, you can feel it if you meditate a lot, and if you have these like channels good, you feel this like turgid, anxious energy in your belly. Everybody feels that actually. And that's where your kind of personality lower, I hate to say lower, but yeah, animal kind of soul is. Then you have, ruach, your intellectual kind of center, and then you have neshama, your kind of spiritual center. So back to the original point. So this kid, he managed to, through the aid of the quickening kundalini aspect of psilocybin mushrooms, he managed to kind of dissolve that lower gunk, that lower karmic gunk that he had, kind of burn through it with this flash of, inspiration and higher consciousness that psychedelics give you, to the right people anyway, when you're ready for it. And he had this higher vantage point where he's burning through all of that lower pain and shit with hot tears of compassion and sympathy, in a way that most people would be like, man, you're crying for your dad who raped you when you were a kid. What the fuck is wrong with you? You should fucking go kill him, right? Because most people don't have that the inner experience of the higher kind of spiritual locus of emotion, of feeling, of perceptions, of mental formations, consciousness. When your mind becomes spiritualized, when whatever you want to call it, your soul, your mind becomes spirit, when your psyche becomes spiritualized, when you can connect to whatever God, Shiva, Buddha, Amitabha, Avalokiteshvara, when you can connect upwards to that Buddha nature within you, that Buddha womb, that Buddha matrix within you, all of your perceptions, your thoughts, your emotions, everything which comprises your entityhood, yourself, becomes spiritualized. It becomes, you really viscerally feel it. You viscerally feel it, like you feel like Jesus felt like when he is forgiving his his accusers. He's burning through that karma. When the Buddha is being when Devadatta, the cousin of the Buddha, is jealous of him, and he's trying to push boulders to stop the Buddha, and he's getting elephants drunk to try to kill the Buddha. he's doing all these things to the Buddha, and the Buddha is just patient. He's allaying, he's healing, he's burning through that karma, and he's keeping that Buddha nature. And eventually, Devadatta, through all of the shenanigans that Devadatta pulls, trying to divide the Sangha, trying to kill the Buddha, trying to get the Buddha sick, throughout all of that, at the very end, Devadatta, he's starting to get his bad karma towards the end of Devadatta's life, the Buddha's cousin, and he starts to get really deathly ill, and he says, "Oh God, I'm getting sick. This is my bad karma. I've got to go apologize to my cousin, the Buddha." So he has his little group, his little crew, carry him on his sick bed to meet the Buddha. And he's getting close to the Buddha, and he says, "Oh well, I'm getting close to the Buddha. Drop me by this river so I can wash myself off before I'm in the presence of this enlightened being." And as soon as he gets off of the sick bed, the earth swallows him up, and he's taken straight to hell because of the sheer force of that karma that he has created for himself. But not before he goes to hell. He's going to tell me I have something on my lip. Just going to have to ignore that. But not before he goes to hell, he says, "Oh, Buddha, I'm sorry, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha." And the Buddha, he says, "Yep, well, this is what I've been expecting the whole time. I've been waiting for this, so I accept you, but you're going to have to spend a long time in Naraka, in hell, before you come back. And by the way, when you come back, something like he'll be the next Buddha or something like that. I forget the exact thing with Devadatta, but he received a prophecy for when he'll become a Buddha or something like that." Anyway, getting a little sidetracked. So this person in this video clip, love this guy, such a sweet dude. He reminds me a lot of myself. Thank God I didn't go through anything that horrifying in my life in terms of trauma, but kind of the way that he deals with things, like the kind of the I'm not sure how much of the video clip I'm gonna play. I haven't edited it yet, but if you want to watch the whole thing, I'll put the link to the video under here. The channel that guy, the channel of that guy who does the video is really good too. So in I feel related to the guy a lot of the way that he kind of has this kind of intuitive understanding in his life that, yeah, okay, psilocybin mushrooms can give you a higher spiritual experience. Yeah, I don't like psychiatrists. And yeah, I'm not going to put the antidepressant bullshit in my body. Yeah, I know that. And he, the thing that I made this video for, what I think is amazing, and he said that, he says multiple times, the things that help me the most to get through my trauma in my life, to become a better person, to keep myself from succumbing to this mammon, to this samsara, to this Kali Yuga, was yoga and meditation. I thought that was so fucking amazing watching this, because I'm watching this interview and I'm thinking in this guy's life, where would this guy be if he didn't have that comfort of he says that there were some yoga teachers that he saw that took him under his wing and let him, walked him through his trauma, let him vent a little bit, just that, again, that intersubjective connection back and forth. There's so much energy that goes back and forth between people. You can really feel it. You can really feel it when you're aware of it, and you, especially when you're operating from, that Buddha jnana, Buddha wisdom, Buddha awareness. You can really feel it. You can really feel these kind of like a matrix in your body, like this tree of life, like matrix. You can feel it, like gates opening, closing, different energy centers. You can really feel it. So, this person, he said, that the yoga teachers, meditation teachers in his life, if they're what helped him to kind of connect to someone and by that energy kind of reform his mind and his soul into an image which is sustainable and which is healthy and bright and vibrant and not turgid and dark. This guy could have easily gone down the wrong path in his life, and succumb to, the drug addiction and the all the street stuff that he's very familiar with. He said he had a brother die of Xanax and alcohol overdose or something like that. Even after he quit all the harder drugs, he was like doing the multiple depressants. Alcohol and Xanax, terrible. Anybody who's done that before will tell you that that's a horrible, terrifying combination. But either way, so the point that this video and what I wanted to say is that I think it's really interesting that this person first of all did that, but I think it's really interesting that he made a delineation between yoga and meditation as some kind of intuitive process, as some kind of skillful means, some kind of practice, some kind of safe place within Kali Yuga, some kind of hearth, some kind of source of strength and energy and light and vitality that he set apart from religion. When I heard that, he's saying, well, I don't like religion, but I like yoga, but yoga and meditation saved my life. It's interesting that in this very intuitive guy's mind, and the reason why I made this video is that I feel that a lot of people in the West probably have this in their minds also. For some reason, there's this split between yoga, meditation, and religion. Like for some reason, yoga and meditation isn't seen as a religion. It is a religion. Yoga is a religion. Yoga is religion. Dharma is religion. Yoga is it is religion. The problem is that I don't know for the after a religious system, like, I'm not going to pick on Christianity so just exclusively, but since this is this guy's example, so when you have a religious system like Christianity that perpetuates itself in the material energy, it's in samsara, it's in the earth, it's clouded with the tamoguna, it's clouded with the nature of dullness and ignorance because it's in samsara. It perpetuates itself and it becomes watered down, cloudy, hard to navigate, hard to understand, and it kind of just absorbs generations and generations of people, so that you have people who are born into these major religions that aren't they're the least religious people. They believe, I hate the word belief. What do you believe this? Do you believe that? What does that do for you? I can't stand the word belief. If I was to get rid of one word in the English language, it would be belief. Get rid of it. I hate that fucking word. Because religion is an inner experience. Like I was saying about yoga and meditation, it's a hearth. It's a source of light and vitality and energy. Just like the same nature as the thing that you're yoga uniting to, God, Parashiva, Christ, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Yoga is the way to have introspection, to elevate that level of our soul to the neshama, to the spirit, to spiritualize the soul by uniting your lower self with your higher self, uniting the kind of day-to-day human life that we have with the higher archetypal, divine archetypal, figure of these deities, Vishnu, Aram Kadman, whatever, but Mahapurusha, the great archetypal man of the cosmos. Yoga is, in so many ways, is different aspects of your intellect, your emotions, the way that you think, your consciousness, the actual elements in your body, the channels and nadis. All of these, you take them and you spiritualize them. That's what yoga and meditation are. And there's no way to escape religion from that. what is religion? A moral system, a belief system? Well, sure. When you start to do some yoga and meditation, if you're doing it properly, and like how I said that religions, even yoga now in the West is so watered down because of the contact with this material energy. That's why you need a living guru who's connected this kind of stuff to kind of refresh the the schema and impart it to those around him, horizontally or her. You need to have a guru to impart these things. The guru has, like, the whole schema transplanted from the above, like overlaid on top of him. Guru is the whole schema. He's like the embodiment of the great man, the macrocosmic man. So that Mahapurusha, that higher self is not so much of a self. It's a unity. So you call it God, whatever. But that unity, that intersubjectivity, the unity between people, the unity between our horizontal axis, the unity between the vertical axis. You guys like that? Vertical axis, horizontal axis. The unity between all of these is one consciousness, one mind. Literally no distinctions. It's like, trying to clouds in the air or trying to draw figures in space. You can draw figures in space, but there's no real duality within that. So all the religions of the world, what's the main thing they profess? Believe in one God. Well, I know plenty of people that believe in this or that, and it doesn't help them. But through yoga and meditation, which is real religion, the real process of religion, to become Christ-like, to become Buddha-like, to become a Buddha yourself, through the and so you uplift samsara all over, you uplift everyone around you. You are able to complete this tapestry of your life in the highest possible way. It gives you meaning. This yoga and this meditation that we have. The Eastern stuff doesn't have to be the ultimate truth, but relative to us on the earth, it really is. It's a hell of a lot better than what we've had imparted to us from Christians, unfortunately. Although at some point, in history, I'm sure that they have, different types of stuff like this. Unfortunately, in America, we just don't have it. So, but there's such a crisis of meaning in the West, and here it is, right here. We're doing it right now. We're restoring the crisis of meaning in the West and curing the ills of postmodernism. Like this dude, would have been a typical postmodern reject, probably killed on the street, probably dead. Probably, this dude probably would have been dead. But for that little saving grace of yoga teachers, meditation, the people around that, little nexus of light and vitality, the people around that breathed life back into this person and gave him, like, okay, it's okay. Look, yeah, shit's bad, but here are other people around me who all agree. We're forming a consensus, an intersubjective consensus, that this is the truth, right? This is real. Okay, that's the restoration of the crisis of meaning in the West. That's the cure to the God is dead, Nietzschean kind of thing. That's the cure to it. So when you come into contact with that unity, that God, whatever, there's no room for belief anymore. Through the yogic, mystical, meditational practices, there's no room for belief. You're embodying it. You know that it's right there. You know that God's right there. And the religion just seems like what is this? What is this, like, extra skin that I don't really need? I view religion in a kind of utilitarian way. You can see me. I'm a religious person. I've got all the little trappings. I got all my little ritual elements. I've got the posters. I'm a religious person. Excuse me. But this is all utilitarian, and Buddhists will say the same thing. Like, these are skillful means. Skillful means is utility. These help me to focus my mind. They help me to organize my psyche so that I understand the processes going on. They help me to give devotion so I can focus my devotion to the absolute truth, absolute reality. I can understand the relationship between things. I can understand kind of the meaning behind why things happen the way they do. I can understand that I should make these choices versus those choices, to be a more moral person. Religious utility, religious dross, religious, veneer gives you that understanding, to help you guide your choices, to help you understand what's going on inside and outside of yourself. But ultimately, that flame of unity of yoga is ignited. A Brahman is alighted on your forehead, or it's not. And no amount of belief is gonna make that flame, ignite, make your pineal gland activate. No amount of belief is gonna do it. Maybe desire, for the yogic process to begin to happen, but you just start doing these things, and you don't even really know why. You start sitting down, meditating this way, that way, doing these mudras. You start chanting these mantras and whatnot, and you don't even know why that you're doing it, but you feel compelled that there is some kind of inner, imagine like millions and millions of gurus as just one flaming wisdom and expression of a shining body of light, of like a shining deva. That's Shiva. That's whatever, the Babaji, the Ascended Masters, Jesus, Buddha. That's what that is. And you kind of unite with it and become a part of it, and you just start doing these things. Yogi Raja is one of the titles of Shiva, I believe. The king of the yogis. The right here, Vajradhara, the Adi Guru, the primordial Guru, he'll come in just and give you in your mind the understanding of these kind of nuances of religion, right? Through yoga, and through meditation. So yoga is religion. Yoga is the only way to really embody religion fully. Otherwise, these people are just LARPing. They're making an imitation of what yogis are doing. They're making an imitation of what mystics are doing. They're making an imitation of what meditators are doing. They're making an imitation of what people who are really made contact with this inner flame are doing. So I think what's important is to continually, whatever system that you choose or whatnot, to continually be able to remember and draw forth your realization and complete this alchemical transmutation. And then whatever religious system you have, it should have the utility to keep drawing that light out and to keep it creating this intersubjective highest reality with different people. That's what religion is. So this kid, more religious than his father, which is ironic, his father becoming a born again, talking shit about him, thinks that he's saved, and he's still got all this gunk in his unconscious mind, and God help him when he dies and his mind is flayed open in the bardo of death and rebirth, and he's confronted viscerally with all of these horrible things that are still lurking there. Yoga, the kid will have a much easier time in the bardo. Yoga is like a kind of conscious dying, almost like you get an experience for what happens in the realms beyond within your own mind and consciousness. I'm not trying to sound too woo-woo, and I'm kind of rambling, and I apologize. But yeah, I think I've just about said what I wanted to say. Yoga gives your mind, you kind of understand the contours. You kind of move with the contours of how the absolute reality works, how the higher being wants to move also. You move in line with him inside of your mind, your emotions, your perceptions, your interactions. You kind of move in line with it, and so you get a harmony out of it, so that you're not banging your head against samsara and the turgidness of it and the lower emotions and freaking out and, oh, I'm depressed and life has no meaning and da 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 da. So Really, there's only two types of people in the world. There's the people who have gnosis, who have the inner connection to Shiva, to the Buddha. I mean, everyone has it, but the people who consciously have it and who acknowledge it and try to bring it forth from themselves with sincerity, honesty, morality, and wisdom and whatnot, compassion. And then there's people who don't, who fixate on their egos, fixate on their lower self. Those are the only two types of people in the world, People who follow the Dharma, people who don't follow the Dharma.